after 2020, bro, people just got so fucking stupid. Like, I was at work, right, and these two individuals were talking about the moon, and I overheard them saying like, yeah, man, that shit ain't real. And I'm thinking they talking about the moon landings being fake. I'm like, okay, all right, I believe in the moon landings, but at least we can both agree that the moon is a real object in space. I kid you fucking not, bro. These jokers are talking about the earth being flat and the moon not actually existing. Like, what the fuck is going on, man? I had to look over there, bro. I'm like, there's no fucking way they're having this conversation.
I hate to say it, but I think we're all getting dumber. Did you know only 48% of adults read at least one book last year? 10 years ago, it was 55%. IQ scores among young people have been going down since the early 2000s due to increased screen time and fragmented attention spans. Hell, my nephew broke his arm last week. I asked him if he fell off his bike. He goes, "No, I broke it doing a TikTok challenge." Nice kid, but kind of a dipshit.
Gen Z kids are inherently dumber than millennials. There's a study that reveals that Gen Z has become the first generation to be less intelligent than its predecessor for the first time in 100 years. So this story is coming from neuroscientists, and they are claiming that Gen Z is empirically dumber than millennials because of the amount of screen time they have, and claim that then Gen Alpha as well is absolutely cooked and smoked.
I don't know if it's just me, but they gotta be putting something in my water, because I feel like I'm getting stupider by the day, or it might just be the autism fully kicking in.
Oh, I really hope I'm not autistic.
Holy shit.
So people are saying that people are getting dumber and dumber every single day. Why is that? I mean, there's a lot of dumb people out there, and there's a lot of smart people out there, but what is really dumb and what is really smart? Because I can be dumb a lot of times. You know, I believe the earth is flat. I believe that we never landed on the moon. I believe that gravity doesn't exist, that it's just a theory. So to majority of people, I am considered dumb, and I'm okay with that, you know? But for some, I'm considered as skeptical. It's just a person who has a different way of thinking. And there's a lot of people that think differently, you know? It's just how we shape our belief system. The things we believe in are very different from one another, and it's just a matter of respect. We just gotta respect each other, you know? But people are different, and we see things differently, and therefore we form a belief system that is different from others, and therefore we sometimes think that these people are dumb and that we're smart, even though we're not smart, and that they're actually smart. So what is really smart and what is really dumb?
The kids are fucked. Like, I knew that the pandemic and ChatGPT was making us dumber. I didn't realize it was this bad. The University of California, San Diego just released a study on the math level of their incoming freshmen. And it is fucking horrible. 1 out of every 8 kids needs to take a remedial math course. In 2020, like 5 years ago, it was 1 out of every 100. It 10x'd in 5 years. And when they say remedial math, they really mean remedial math. 1 out of every 10 kids couldn't do 66 plus 44. 25% of kids got 7 plus 2 equals blank plus 6 wrong. That's 25% of kids not being able to answer a first grade math question. 61% of kids couldn't round a number to the nearest 100. Holy fuck. And keep in mind, this isn't high school or community college. This is UCSD, one of the best schools in the country. This school has a 24% acceptance rate. And before you make fun of UCSD, no, this is happening across the board at all colleges. This is my friend at MIT doing ChatGPT essays. And honestly, I don't blame the students at all. First of all, the pandemic did ruin a lot of our attention spans. It is hard to focus nowadays. Someone in my Discord said that he had an in-class essay and it felt like a blue-collar job. Are we deadass right now? It was an in-class essay. Schools need to do a better job at teaching and testing their students. It's fucking stupid to be like, oh, you can't use AI. Everyone and everything use AI nowadays. Truthfully, I don't know what the solution is. I don't even know if there is a solution. We just might all be fucked.
The reason I don't like talking to people is because I find them absolutely stupid, and I'm pretty sure they probably think I'm stupid until they start talking to me. And one thing I realize is a lot of people have not been exposed to real and rare, and once they get a taste of it, they crave more. And once you actually start having conversations with people, you realize that they do not possess actual intelligence. And I'm not talking about the intelligence that you gain going through school and going to these big Ivy League schools. I'm talking about some of these people are so surface level that you have to sit there and nod in agreement. It will never be me, because that's delusion and confusion. Because your energy is not worth the conversation. So you sit there and just smile and nod. So it never surprises me when I have a conversation. It surprises other people when they think that I'm not capable of holding one. No, I'm not capable of having a conversation with you because it's an attempt to have a conversation. And then again, a lot of people are just putting on a facade to energy siphon and energy swap. That's the reason why some of us are always drained, or we dread answering that phone call or responding to that text message. That's it.
You know how hard it is to be around stupid people? To hear the conversation and dialogue of stupid people, how they rationalize information in the dumbest way, how they draw conclusions and then go find other dumb people to agree with them. You can't tell me that that don't piss you off. My therapist, Erica Little, she's in Fort Worth, Texas, if you want to look her up, told me that highly intelligent people suffer from a mild form of depression because they daily have to quantify the stupidity of others. This woman of God don't even know how heavy that statement was. Do you know how mentally exhausting it is to be around stupid people? And then you got to interact with them at work. I would love for you to give your testimony about how you had to deal with a dumb individual in the comment section.
I mean this in the least offensive way, but some people are just so dumb. I was talking to somebody about how I've been obsessed with frozen bananas because it's been ridiculously hot nowadays. And this person was like, oh, Ari, don't eat more than one, otherwise you're going to have a heart attack. What? And what they said verbatim, they said, I know more about this than you because I read an article online. They said this unironically. And I told them, I was like, I already had 2 bananas today and I'm fine. And they were like, no, your heart is literally going to stop because of the potassium levels. So you need to go to the emergency room right now. And obviously I was skeptical, but I was still kind of anxious. So I looked it up myself, and guess what? You would have to eat 400 bananas in order for your heart to stop. Not 2. 400. And then I showed them the study on my phone and I was like, hey, by the way, 2 bananas is completely fine, you're wrong. And they were like, oh, that's the article that I saw. Are you for real? And it turns out that they only read the headline and assumed that anything past 1 banana would automatically give you a heart attack. The lack of understanding and just reading comprehension in general is appalling. Not just for kids, but for everybody. If you are going to use an article to inform someone about something, please do us all a favor and read through the article before spewing nonsense. Like, I am genuinely worried about us as a species at this point.
One of the hardest things to accept in this world, and it may not seem hard when I say it first, but just let me dive into it a little bit, is that people are real life fucking stupid. And I mean, not like that kind of stupid. I mean like certain things, certain pieces of common sense just don't click in their head like it should. Like, these people will go to work, they'll pay bills, they'll pay taxes, they'll take care of whatever. But when it comes to common sensible type things, the math ain't mathing upstairs. And these are the people that take things out of context. These are the people that don't listen to understand, they listen to respond, because they lead with emotion, not logic and fact. If me as an individual, if I led with emotion in specific parts of my life where I led with logic instead, I'd be dead right now. It wouldn't be no jail or what. No, I'd be dead. I'd be a hothead motherfucker. I'd be saying reckless shit. I'd be talking reckless. I'd be doing reckless things. I'd be put in crazy positions. I'd put people around me in crazy positions because I don't value the lives or the livelihood of those around me. I just value my little soft ass point that I want to get across. And before y'all start, this ain't about nobody in particular. Y'all know before any of this bullshit, I've been making takes like this, and we're getting back to regularly scheduled program. But you could sit here, watch the things that people do, watch the things that people say, look at how they move, and if you're a person with common sense and you use it on a regular basis, it just look weird from the outside looking in. You see what I'm saying? And some people who gain this knowledge recently will see somebody doing some shit that they used to do, and it'll have you sitting like, damn, I used to say shit like that. I used to do shit like that. Wow, I was fucking dumb. And it's really sad when people are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, and they still do dumbass shit. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this way, and I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this shit. It just boggles my mind when I see, you know, and I'm 33 years old. It just boggles my mind.
And to be honest with you guys, I haven't read a book in years. You know, I'm just not really the type of person to read books, because I think that reading books is very slow, because I need information to be coming to me as fast as possible with a very short amount of time. So that's why we have videos now where you could watch and learn a concept for less than 10 minutes and grasp that concept, learn that concept in a very short amount of time, compared to going to the library way back then and actually opening up a book and flipping pages, which could take you like an hour just to learn this simple concept of things. I mean, technology makes it easier, but at the same time, it makes us lazier because of how easy to get things now. You don't have to work as hard compared to back then, where you really have to, you know, go out there, mission, conquest, just to get this certain information. You know, what we have now is an opportunity for information. Information is just a type away. It's just a press away. Because of smartphones and technology now, we have to adapt. You know, we have to ride with the speed that these technology is going. You know, but I do understand that a lot of people have, you know, very deficient attention span because of how technology makes us lazy. But we have to use technology wisely, you know?
I truly do believe at this point in time, we are easily living with the most insufferable people ever. I just can't get behind the whole, this is my opinion. If you don't agree with it, you're wrong and you're a piece of shit. That's not how anything works. If you go through life like that, you are going to be a miserable individual. And listen, I'm 30 years old, and when I was a young kid, my dad always says, life isn't fair. You gotta just get over it. You gotta understand that people aren't gonna agree with you. Things aren't gonna be, you know, how it was. Your bubble is gonna be popped sooner than later. I just saw a video of a girl going, this is my favorite waffle recipe. And in the video, the comments, a girl goes, I don't like waffles. Who gives a fuck, dude? It doesn't matter. You don't need to have an opinion on every single thing that happens in this world. If you do, you are going to have no friends. No one wants to be around you. An opinionated person is one of the worst people in the entire world. You can have an opinion, but stop pushing your fucking stupid opinions on everybody. And if they don't agree with you, they're a bad person. Oh my God, you're the worst kind of person.
Pay attention, because the dumbest people are the ones always talking. The smartest ones are the ones that are always listening. One thing about humans is when we're insecure about things, we cope. And when somebody has nothing to talk about, they try to cope and cover it up by talking all the time and trying to make themselves seem smart because they understand they're not. And the reason I know this to be fact is because as we're speaking, our brain is not in the mode to be taking in information. So if you're always talking, your brain is never in the mode to be taking in information. So you're doing a lot less learning while you're talking the entire time. So if this is you, try to be quiet and listen more. And also be weary of that quote-unquote smart guy that's always talking.
The average person is getting dumber, and it is because of AI. When you picture an intelligence graph, you probably think of broadly a normal distribution. So if you have intelligence along the x-axis, then the number of people who are at specific intelligence levels will peak somewhere in the middle, and there'll be a small amount of people who are of very low intelligence and a small amount of people who are of very high intelligence. Most people congregating around the middle. That is no longer what intelligence looks like according to new research. What researchers are increasingly finding is that this unimodal distribution, where there is one peak, is changing into a bimodal distribution, where there are two peaks. There is a peak at the lower end, there is a peak at the upper end. And actually, in the middle, there aren't many people. Now, crazily, the lower peak, or I suppose this might be expected, right? The lower peak is higher than the upper peak, meaning more people are congregating towards these lower intelligence levels. Fewer people are in the middle, and there are more people who are having this like greater intelligence, but relative to people of lower intelligence, there are fewer of them. That is a lot of words. Essentially what I'm saying is that the people who are outsourcing all of their thinking capacity to artificial intelligence, they are the people who are congregating at these lower intelligence levels, simply because they are not utilizing your brain. Your brain is a muscle. If you want to be able to use it for certain tasks, you've got to practice it using it for those certain tasks. Otherwise, it's going to forget how to do it. And like with any other muscle, you need to train it, right? But for those people who understand that actually they still need to use their brain for the cognitive heavy lifting, but for these monotonous tasks, they can utilize artificial intelligence, that is where their perceived intelligence level is increasing, simply because they are offsourcing low capacity tasks to AI systems, but instead they are making sure that they are concentrating their effort on those things that are most relevant to them and of those things that are going to deliver the highest results, meaning the more they do that, the more they're training their brain for cognitive performance and the more their intelligence is rising. So you have a choice. You can be at the lower end of the distribution or you can be at the upper end of the distribution. Make the right decision.
The problem I have with dumb people is that no matter what you say, you're always at the behest of whatever it is that they can understand. And it's this way because dumb people don't ask clarifying questions. They believe that whatever it is that you say is exactly what they understood you said. And that part of asking clarifying questions is one of the biggest signifiers that I can tell that I'm going to be talking to somebody who wants to understand what I am saying. And so I talk a lot about dumb people and my observations of what dumb people do. And there's always some dummy in my comments saying, well, that's not what dumb is. So of course you're going to disagree, because if I'm talking about an observation that I have made on something that I think somebody did that is dumb, the dumb person is not going to clarify what I mean by dumb, and they're also going to interpret it as something that they didn't understand correctly. If there's one trait that I've noticed in dumb people, it is that they have the inability of understanding somebody else's perception. It's to say that if I'm ever speaking from my experience or from my perspective, these dumb people tend to speak in absolutes. Where smart people can identify that somebody speaking from their perception, from their experience, may not be the absolute fact. It could be an edge case or it could be nuance, but they understand that from this person's perspective, this is what they are seeing. So like if I'm saying that I like Apple products, I think that I have a better experience using an iPhone, and I think all of the people around me also believe that thing. The dumb absolutist will say, well, that's not true because Android sells better all over the world. This is a stupid example. This type of thinking cascades into every other conversation where there now has to be an accurate answer and an inaccurate answer. And if your perspective doesn't fit into what the accurate answer is, then it is incorrect, regardless of the edge case, the personal experience, or the nuance.
The older you get, the more you realize that people don't get smarter with age, and that most people who are adults are actually very stupid and very ignorant. Growing up as a kid, I thought that older people were just naturally smart and more intelligent, but it actually has nothing to do with that. Age has nothing to do with intelligence and wisdom and none of that shit. Your intelligence level and your comprehension level comes from your experiences and your ability to learn from those experiences. That's what intelligence is. Intelligence is when you gain new information, you figure out how to utilize it and outsource it to make yourself better. Most people just learn stuff, they hear stuff, but they never actually utilize it at any point in their lives. So they stay stupid, they stay ignorant, they stay dumb. I've seen so many 25 plus, 35 plus, 40-year-olds who don't know shit about life or anything. This idea that, oh, you get smarter with time, I don't believe that. It's all about experience.
People with ADHD are fucking stupid. At least that's how we feel if we have ADHD. We feel that we are stupid. We feel that we're dumb. And why do we feel that way? Because we can't complete simple tasks, and other people can do stuff and make it look so easy. And it can be the most simplest task, and guess what? We can't complete it. Wait, or did you think I thought ADHD people were stupid? Believe it or not, ADHD people are extremely intelligent. Brain just needs to be challenged, and that is part of knowing what you have as a diagnosis that you have ADHD. Helps you understand why sometimes some of the simplest of tasks you are not able to do, as in filling out a form and just submitting it to set up an appointment is very difficult. There is no challenge to it. Our brain is not challenged. There is no dopamine fix. There is nothing. So for us to do it, there is no reason for our brain to do it, which makes us almost paralyzed in completing it. For anyone that has ADHD, this makes complete sense, because what happens now all of a sudden is if you do get a diagnosis, you do find the right medication even, or the
right coping tools for ADHD, you'll find that it is a lot easier to put together a to-do list, to systematically find different ways to challenge your brain to complete these mundane tasks that we normally can't do, which the inability to do those makes us feel so dumb, so helpless, that something's wrong with us. And let's face it, anybody who is neurodivergent will tell you that all we want to do is feel normal, all we want to do is be like everybody else, yet we don't understand why we're not like everybody else. Well, that's because our brain works differently, and there is nothing wrong with that. Again, it's learning about what ADHD is believe it or not, you have some of the most amazing superpowers there is. You are resilient, you can forget times and people and stuff like that and just literally erase them out of your brain, anything that was bad. You have the ability to solve problems that most people can't because of how your brain will think out of the box. These are just some of the ways that you have superpowers that some people don't have and they'll never understand. I will say this is ADHD, yes, it is a mental illness, yes, it is a diagnosis, but out of all the diagnoses that I've ever been given or I have received, I will say this is ADHD is one I would never want to give up because of what it has given me, because of what it has allowed me to do and what it's brought into my life. Be grateful for it, but the biggest thing is get a diagnosis, get tested, find out if you have it or not. Don't self-diagnose and work on you and finding ways around it together with the right therapist. I do have a link up in my bio. If you click the fourth one down, it says ADHD Online. You can get tested on matter. So don't give up on yourself. Don't fight yourself. And remember this, that when you get the answers, you get the key and life becomes easier and you are worth that every single day. And to the ones that are struggling, you matter.
I guess you can consider someone dumb when their actions and their belief system doesn't reflect reality, you know, because actions and your belief system has to reflect reality. If not, then you're living in a delusional world where majority of people will consider you dumb. Like if I weigh 200 pounds at my height 5'6", I can't call myself skinny. I am considered obese. You know, I would be considered obese. I cannot call myself skinny because, you know, I'm 200 pounds and I can't live in a delusional. I can, but I would be considered dumb by a majority of people because based on the global standard of how much I'm supposed to weigh and what I'm supposed to be labeled, I'm supposed to be labeled as obese because I weigh 200 pounds, right? I can't call myself skinny when I'm actually obese. So that way of thinking for people who think that way could be considered dumb because they're living in a world where they are delusional. You know, it doesn't reflect the reality or it doesn't reflect what majority of people think or, you know, do. So that's, I guess, one of the ways you could tell someone is dumb.
The smartest people you know are going to be looked at as crazy or conspiracy theorists, but imagine how the person who wanted to invent a plane sounded to other people. Imagine how the person who wanted to invent a phone sounded to other people. They sounded crazy, didn't they? But guess what? I say this to say, don't let people who are stupid, who are programmed, who can't view life outside of what they know and what is happening right now and what they grew up in, don't let them make you feel dumb. Don't let them make you feel crazy because you're not. The smartest people are going to ask questions. They're not just going to sit back and go with however everything is set up and be like, yep, this is right.
So is it just me, or is it like people are getting dumber and dumber and dumber?
Every year.
Like, see, there's a difference between needing help on a certain topic, right? And then just not having
any form
of common sense, bro. Bro, my homie told me that in one of his classes, they were talking about the human body and all the different parts of it. Bro, tell me why someone in his class did not know what lungs look like, bro. Bro, how? Bro, how do you not know what lungs look like, bro? How? Like, it's baffling, bro. I'm flabbergasted on the idiocracy of the world that I'm living in right now, bro. Another example is like, bro, when people just be saying shit just to say some shit, bro. Like, I could be wearing this Raiders jersey I have, right? I could be walking in the hallways, some random just to come up to me and say, right, the Raiders suck, bro. Like, bro, I just like the
colors of the fucking shirt.
And it's just like, bro, there's too much ass takes. It's just ass takes after ass takes after ass take. If you're in school right now, bro, please try to pay attention in class. Because clearly, a large majority of people are just stupid.
Does anybody else feel like the older they get, the more brain cells they lose? Like, I can just feel myself getting dumber and dumber by the day. Maybe I feel like it might be because I'm not in school anymore and I'm not actively and consistently learning new things. But I just feel like every day, like, my brain is like shriveling up slowly. And it's about to just shrivel up, fall off a stem, and just die. I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting less intelligent every single day. My brain goes blank. I can't remember words. I have terrible vocabulary. I just feel like I can't remember anything. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just becoming an idiot. I should probably read a book.
People don't know how to fucking read anymore. People can't read anymore. That's bad. That's really bad. And when I say can't read, I mean a level of illiteracy that is that of like a third grader. Not that they can't read a stop sign or, you know, they're scrolling on their phone, they're able to read comments and all this other shit. But it's like kids today and people today have reading levels far below what par is for their grade, right? Like, people are stupid now. And it's like, oh my God, this is a problem. Like, the future generations of people that are like Gen Alpha kids can't fucking read. And it's like, that's true of like a large portion of like American adults now, but it's like that percentage of people that have like reading levels of that of a 9-year-old is like increasing more and more to where like I'm worried of like how the fuck, or like what college students are gonna look like 20 years from now. Like, are they actually gonna be trying, or are they gonna be cheating on everything? And I think like what teachers say specifically through what I've like looked into online is that the gap, not just like, we're gonna get into wealth inequality gap soon. I think that's
one way you can know if someone is smart is if they actually listen and grasp the information in their head before speaking. They actually try to comprehend before they speak, before they take actions. They rationalize things in order prior to taking actions. Because from my experience, because I've experienced dumb people and smart people tend to be more quiet. They tend to be more they tend to be more observing than people who are dumb, who just lash out. They tend to be more calm. They tend to be more open-minded, because they listen to both sides. They listen to the arguments of both sides and try to conclude what is actually reasonable. And from that reasonable statement, they take actions. They make decisions upon the rationale and, you know, the processing of thoughts before taking actions, you know?